So even though the entire combat sports world only cares about Mayweather vs. McGregor right now and the world tour that they're doing, I found a little bit of time to research the main event of UFC Fight Night 113, or hashtag UFC Glasgow, which is taking place this coming Sunday on Fox Sports 1 between Gunnar Nelson and Santiago Ponzinibio. Let's start talking about the matchup with two keys to this fight that I think should be noted: cardio and takedown defense, and both of those are on the side of Ponzinibbio. Also, we could lump in there a little bit of pressure. So what is each fighter going to do? Gunnar Nelson, he's going to be super patient. He's going to stand kind of sideways in a karate stance, and he's going to wait for you to come in. He'll counter you with a right straight, or he will leap in with a jab right straight, and then if that doesn't hurt you, and or if he doesn't circle off after landing that, he might transition into a takedown attempt where he will go for either a body lock or perhaps a double leg. And if he gets his opponent to the ground, he is kind of like Damian Maia. He might turn into a backpack. The guy is super fluid with his transitions on the ground. He's super great with his submission grappling, his submission attempts, and his ability to finish fights via choke. And if he doesn't get the finish, well then he might tire out a little bit. His only fight that's ever been scheduled for 5 rounds was against Rick Story quite a while back, but he didn't look great in the later rounds there. But I do think he's a little bit of a different version now than he was then. His physique alone looks a lot better. He looks to be in better physical shape. He looks to be with more cardio, and he looks just a little bit stronger, more confident on the feet. And he showed against Alan Jouban that he possesses quite a bit of power. Santiago, he's going to be looking to keep the fight on the feet. He's going to hit you with a lot of combinations. He's going to be moving forward most of the time. He can get his opponents with some low kicks, which could cause Gunnar Nelson some problems because he does stand pretty heavy on his lead leg in that karate type of style. And he's mostly going to be getting you with 1-2s, very powerful 1-2s, and he likes to rip hooks. He will rip to the body, and he will do some wide rights to the head as well. But he has the better cardio than Gunnar Nelson. That's why I think it is the key here, because Gunnar tends to dwindle in his fights, even in the ones that just go 3 rounds. He tends to fade. And Santiago, his last 2 fights have gone to the judges, and in each one of those rounds, round 1, he lands less strikes than in round 2, and in round 2, he landed less strikes than in round 3. So he gets better and better as each fight goes on, and he has enough power in his hands that once he gets going and once he gets moving forward, it'll really stifle his opponent's offense and get them thinking, man, I really don't want to trade with this guy. I'm just going to retreat a little bit, and that could be a really big story of this fight. Against Zach Cummings, he showed some really good takedown defense against a big, strong welterweight. And Gunnar Nelson, I mentioned his physique looks better. I mentioned he's in better cardiovascular condition than he was against Rick Story. But he's a guy that doesn't cut a lot of weight, so he's not going to be as physically imposing on Santiago as somebody like Zach Cummings was 2 fights back for Santiago. Santiago early on against Nordine Taleb, he was having trouble dealing with the range of Nordine. And Nordine has a 74-inch reach. Santiago has a 74-inch reach, and Gunnar Nelson has a 72-inch reach. But Gunnar Nelson, with that sideways karate stance, I think he's the lengthier striker. He doesn't have the output that Santiago has, but he can strike from a further distance. Not only does he stand sideways, which will obviously lengthen his entire striking range, but he also leaps in with his strikes where Santiago brings his feet with him and he will rip some hooks. In the end, I feel like if Santiago cannot keep the fight on the feet and Gunnar does get him down within the first 10 minutes of the fight, it's going to be good night, Irene, as Michael the Voice Chavallo would say. And I really think that is what happens. Of course, it is a risk that he can't get Santiago down early, and he could fade a little bit late, and that's when Santiago will turn on the pressure. Santiago has not been scheduled for a 5-round fight, so that really might balance itself out. But I think that Gunnar Nelson has a pretty good takedown game. I think he could get Santiago up against the fence, get that takedown, and then shortly thereafter, he's going to use some amazing passing. He's very heavy in the top position. I've got him via submission in round number 2, but I do see a path to victory for Santiago Ponzinibio. Tell me who you're picking in the comment section down below. Please give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on my next one. Namaste. Something to take into consideration is this is kind of a home field advantage for Gunnar Nelson. So if the fight goes to the judges, we could see some hometown cooking, and he could get a kind of a robbery if he doesn't win round 3 through 5. but I think he could definitely win round 1 and 2. But yeah, I've got Gunnar Nelson to get this victory, guys. Please give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you later. Namaste.